Listen in as the two business guys mastermind on cryptocurrencies and how they can make a difference in your business. Enjoy. This business podcast, the two business guys mastermind, uncovers for you secrets and share tips and tricks to entrepreneurship as they mastermind on how to have startup, operational, and overall business success so that you can go on to get better results. Enjoy. So, hey everybody, the two business guys took a little time off, not too long. You know, we had a whole bunch of plates spinning, and we didn't want them to fall, so we kind of missed just 1 week. Leave us alone. We needed to refresh and review, right? And but we're masterminding on some really cool things coming up, and you guys know what's hot out there. First it was the GameStop stock stuff, GameStop stocks. It was all of this different things, and then people start rushing in. Then NFTs, the non-fungible tokens became the thing, and now everybody just losing their mind. And John and I both are discovering some things about our own portfolios. And this is kind of what we like to do here when we mastermind on things, everyone. We will check things out, and sometimes we invest, and guess what? Sometimes we invest and forget. So years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when it was just becoming a thing, Bitcoin and all that stuff, right? It wasn't at its $49,000 level now. Well, put a little bit in. Bought it on Coinbase because that seemed to be the one that made the most sense, and just forgot about it, right? And Coinbase, they'll make you identify who you are, go through the whole thing. Well, John opens up his account this morning and finds out he's got some thousands in there. I open up mine and find out that I had some thousands in there because I had bought 3 years ago, forgot all about it. Mm-hmm. Now, what we were talking about, what we want to mastermind on is, how with the cryptocurrencies and your current business, how do you stay focused on what you were doing, what you started when you got all this other exciting stuff over there, right? And then, John, you open up your account and he says, wait a minute, I got enough to buy a small car. A small car, right? And I got enough to buy some tires.
But it was like I had forgot about it. It was just something that I threw a couple of bucks at, and I had downloaded Coinbase on my phone, the app, and for some reason I've had a couple phones since then, and the app never transferred over. But as I'm reading through some of the stuff, just preparing for our talk today, it had mentioned Coinbase as one of the places to buy Bitcoin and whatnot. And so I'm like, I remember that. So I just logged in not more than 10 minutes ago. And
right.
Yeah,
that's a nice surprise. See, and this is what, look, as entrepreneurs, everyone, we all go through this stuff, right? We have all these darn plates spinning, right? And then we say to ourselves, you know what? I wonder if any food's still on those plates. You probably may use that metaphor, right? In other words, we got so much stuff going that we don't even know if they're making money sometimes because we're not paying attention. And then we get a little bit down on ourselves and go, man, I got to start doing things that make money. And then you bring a plate down or it falls down and it's got all this food on it. The metaphor, food for money, right? And then we, those are the times that we have to take stock in what we are doing in our businesses and this new stuff, how whatever that doing relates to, how does it bring money into the business, and can we create some kind of systematized way to do more of that, right? And this is what the two business guys want to mastermind on going forward, is that we want to explore these things. We want to get into, let me get my notes here. We want to say, hey, the two business guys are masterminding on NFTs. So if you're out there exploring that, we want to be out there and looking at it as well. And then putting some cash in or just kind of exploring Because at the end of the day, isn't it what we want our business to do? Make us money, right? If we're wanting business to do something else for our ego, we got to get out of that, right? We got to say the business is intended, as Peter Drucker said, to create a customer. What? But then we do something like, stocks. And we say, well, what customer am I creating here? Well, you're the customer. So we're going to roll over and talk a little bit about this. That's a good surprise, John. I'm glad that you've got, because now you can go invest that money if you so desire, right? And this is what I did personally. When I saw what I had in my account, then I started scratching beneath the surface like I did 3-4 years ago when it started coming out, Bitcoin. I said, look, I don't want the coin necessarily, even though I bought a little bit. I want the underlying thing the coin runs on, and that's blockchain, right? That's when I was telling you I created an LLC. Then I says, well, what else is underlying some of these newer technologies that are coming out? I invested in blockchain, or I created an LLC that is designed to invest in blockchain, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, um, and life sciences. So I called it Vraber Carl's Technologies LLC, right? VR, AI, blockchain, artificial intelligence. Yep, Carl's and then life sciences. All the things that I thought would be big winners going forward, right? So then what changed kind of my approach was I says, well, who is already investing in those things? That's when I came across Kathy Woods and over there at ARC, right? So I put my LLC, sent it to my money guy and says, okay, here's the LLC. Go get me some ARC because they invest in all of these things, right? And Kathy Woods is just for real. So, and then when I looked at my Coinbase, I says, wait a minute. I've got my stuff in Coinbase. I says, let me see. This was before Coinbase was going IPO. And I didn't get it. I says, well, because they weren't obviously available. I says, well, let me invest in Coinbase as soon as it came out. So I wanted to, if it came in at, somewhere under $400, then what I was going to do was, excuse me, be sure to edit that out.
I can hear you.
So what I was going to do was invest in Coinbase. So I just talked to my guy, so I'll go get a couple of shares of Coinbase itself because it's priced reasonably. And I says, well, I'm going to go ahead and do that. All the prognosticators out there are saying that it's going to run to $600 if I can get in at, 292, 252, something like that. Boom. So that becomes a thing. But that got me thinking, John, what's bigger than what exactly would we expect of our stocks, right? What will we want them to do? So that gave me an idea. So I'm going to create a little guide, a little book relative to running your stocks like a startup. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be called something like that. How to run your stocks like a startup, and then create a category of let's do it like this. This is what we do. This is what we expect. This is what a startup would do. So that is bringing in the business side of this new stuff. So, all right, like any startup, for example, you have certain things that you expect. You got to put some money in. So that could be you like going and buying your stocks, right? So if we're going to treat it like a startup. So anyway, that's just some stuff I'm exploring, on my own and just kind of thinking about it. But what we wanted to get into today, everybody, is if you haven't heard about NFTs and cryptos and BitClout and the blockchain and smart contracts, then you're probably a little late to the party. Maybe. For Bitcoin, I'm not buying it at 59,000, although they say it should run up to 100,000. I don't know. Right? But that's not to say that you can't invest in some of the other things, right? Non-fungible tokens. Oh my gosh, right? Who saw that coming? Until people sold all this art for massive amounts of money, 69 million to be exact. Then everybody stood up and says, wait a minute, what is, NFTs and what can you make with it? So art with NFTs and all kinds of stuff coming out. I just ran across a interesting site, John, called BitClout,
Big
right?
clout.
Bit Clout. And I was like, what is hell is BitClout? Well, they did something interesting. I like the principle. They basically says, hey, we're BitClout. We're starting this thing. We're basically saying you're a celebrity, you're an influencer, you have clout. And we're using the whole ideal of you are the coin, in essence. And they did what they did. They put all these people on, and they could do this apparently, right? Because it's just somebody's name. And then you and I have a chance to go in and says, you know what, we like this person. Let's go ahead and buy some of their coin. Right. And this is sometimes before they even release it to the people. So what they're doing is they're attracting, think about the smartness of this. They're attracting all of these people that says, hey, you're Kim Kardashian. Would you like to invest in her coin? We set it up, didn't even tell them yet, right? They just creating coins based on your name. And then when it gets to people are start investing for $300, $400, $500, whatever, then they go to the celebrity and says, hey, you got about $59,000 or whatever in your BitClout account. Would you like to take ownership of it? Who would say no to that?
Well,
They
you
created an irresistible offer. Are you kidding me right now?
and you think Dogecoin was created back in 2013 to poke fun at Bitcoin,
Yeah.
and they just blew up.
Yeah. So uh, Dogecoin. Yeah, they got a real name for Dogecoin. It's like what?
Deutsch.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dogecoin, Dodge. What? Doesn't matter. Somebody created something out of the air, out of the ether, and I guarantee you, there's some Dogecoin millionaires right now, and the stock is nothing. It's nothing. It's like you and I just went out there and says, "Hey, we think this will be popular. Let's go and let's create an NFT. Let's create a you know, put it on the blockchain, do the thing." And the guy I read a little bit about this. The guy who started was just like laughing his tail off,
Hmm.
right? Like, can you believe this? But this is where we're at right now, everybody. This is the society we live in, that we make things valuable. We determine what's valuable based on what we'll follow, what we'll invest in, and there it is.
So
So
with that Dogecoin, you think that skyrocketed 5,000%. So that's worth $51 billion. That's more than Ford.
right. So company Ford making cars, something comes out of the blue, a joke becomes valuable. Are you valuation? Now that's just paper valuation, but isn't anything that you're creating based on if somebody will buy it? So I like to dig beneath the surface on stuff, right? So if we were applying, you know how they have John Gap rules, generally accepted accounting principles. Well,
Mhm.
what about the generally accepted business principles, right? What if we are creating the kind of business that gets that same kind of buzz? All right. Now, this is bringing in this new idea that something that can come out of the ether and have value, and a real business. That I believe it may be even the challenge, John, to some of these stalwart businesses, basically being usurped by something that has no value. Ford,
Yeah.
with all that, gets outvalued by something that comes out of the ether. Are you kidding me? What's to say about it? What is business to do?
So when you create those types of institutions and oversight, that's when you run into the issues that I think that we kind of hit on this past week.
Mm-hmm.
With the U.S. government cracking down on some of the major financial institutions report, the Treasury reporting on cryptocurrency activities. So on one
Trying
hand,
to slow that train down.
Yeah. So on one hand, this, cryptocurrency was invented to be decentralized, to not
Yeah.
be manipulated by governments.
Yeah.
And then now that it's this emerging technology over the past 10 years, now we have major institutions wanting to invest in it. And now the government says, hey, hold up for a minute. And so, what does this mean for cryptocurrency? And it, does the government have any control outside of US based financial institutions? Do they have control of you and I individually? And I think, and you think about some of the nefarious ways that people have transferred money in offshore accounts
Sure.
throughout the
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
to not pay taxes and report findings and running your transactions through multiple overseas bank accounts.
Yeah. And that's what they're trying to avoid.
I could see how governments might be a little scared because they can't control this. They don't
Yeah.
know the information is not there. I mean, it's you're creating this blockchain in the technology without personal information, and
Right.
so
And that's what when I saw BitClout, that's what I thought. Oh my gosh. Right. And of course, like the founders of BitClout said, hey, look, if somebody goes off and drops a whole bunch of race bombs or something on somebody, their clout goes down.
mhm.
And it's like individualized valuation. But when you also think about, well, wait a minute, absolutely, I've done some great things in life, and I think that should be rewarded. I should be able to get paid for that. It's creating a different kind of celebrity. So you on one hand see the opportunity, and on the other hand you see the dark cloud, right? The force versus the dark side. It could be good or it could go very, very bad, right? And the question becomes, how do you, with your business or as a business, like Jay-Z says, I'm a business, comma, man. If you're a business, comma, man, woman, then you're concerned with less of what's being created and more with how you can advantage yourself and your family as a result of it. That's I think is this huge potential divide that here we are trying to do the same old things, right? Or trying to do different things in the same old way. John and I were talking about this off mic, and how the opportunities could be what's in front of you, even though you don't always understand it. Look, John ended up getting that's a gift that he got when he says, oh my gosh, I got thousands in here and I hadn't looked at it for 3 years. Right? Imagine if you had bought,
Wish I would have invested more now, right?
right, 10,000. You know what? I got an extra 10 around, right? I got a nice little bonus from, selling my last company. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but I'll invest in it. Oh my goodness. Then your Coinbase account will be on fire right now, right? That's the if. So now, so many people now are starting to explore how to business, and I'm going to use that verb in a verb sense, business these new opportunities as well as I am. How do we business these new opportunities?
Yeah, and
NFTs, John.
it,
How will we business that?
this is I over the past. Oh, I mean, since mankind walked the earth, I'm thinking about the Roman coin and how different territories had their own types of currencies throughout generations, and then to the inception of the U.S. Treasury Department. I mean, um, we're not talking about thousands of years. Of course, Roman coins and whatnot, but we're the idea of like a centralized treasury is pretty new. I mean,
Uh-huh.
150 plus. Who was it? Chase was the first. I think he was the first uh, Department of Treasury head, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Um, but y this isn't that much time, and you think about what's happened over the past 120, 130 years,
Mhm.
and then how exponentially expedited that has been over the past 20 years. And I think about this 20 years, internet just coming, people are just getting on the internet, sending emails, downloading music,
The
um,
internet was the wild, wild west.
and now currencies. Within the past 10 years, currencies are coming. The sky is the limit. And it's taking the power away from government entities. Yes, we know that Turkey's banned cryptocurrencies and what, but do you think that really stops people from buying those and the value to go away just because uh, you know they've banned it in the use
Yeah,
in their country?
yeah,
That I
yeah.
I think what that does is that creates more demand
Right.
because
And they
people.
understand. And that banning, listen, everyone, that banning is coming because of a lack of control.
Mhm.
If I can't control my citizens, then I can't control my citizens. If I can't control how they earn their money, then I can't control them. They could leave. Imagine other countries that are communist type countries or very tightly controlled type countries, and you got somebody in, they got friends in the United States that look, invest in this for me. I made a couple of dollars. Boom, take that. And next thing you know, they're millionaires. Imagine what that would do to the sovereignty of that country,
What does it do to
right?
taxes? See, when
Ooh,
when this
bit tax.
information, yeah, well, this when this information is not given to the federal government, not the privy of, and we're investing in these types of things, and we're making money. Well, these things aren't being recorded on taxes, um, because it, I mean, this is a whole new thing. This is decentralized and without government oversight and interference. And for one thing, these the blockchain technology is set up to keep everything private,
Right, right.
confidential. Um, so if you're the government, you're kind of nervous. You're like, oh, if I can't regulate, because how we are evolving as a society from an hourly work schedule, which something that can be controlled by government, tracked.
Right.
Hey, your
Sure.
employer sends it, you fill out your W-4 or whatever, and your W-2, or and we that everything's reported to the government. Well, this stuff isn't going to be reported to the government. So what does that mean for the government going forward? And how are they?
Exactly.
So you look at all of these things, and quite frankly, the government should be concerned, because there's right now everything is backed on the stock market, because there is no longer enough gold in Fort Knox uh, to place the value of our currency on,
Right.
and so everything is on trust of
Yep.
the stock market. Well, if we start moving to these new types of technologies and currencies and stuff, the governments aren't going to be able to control it. How are they going to tax it? Or
And they
are
got to
they going to
figure
try
it
to
out.
tax it? They're going to try to ban it. Um, and I think it's going to create more buzz and people saying, "Hold
Yeah.
on, wait a minute, how?"
Good luck on trying to
Mm-hmm.
ban it and regulate it. Imagine if they tried to ban and regulate the internet, right? In fact, they tried and they're still trying. Well, we gotta, net neutral it or whatever it is, right? So, but here's what I want you guys to start listening to as we are exploring it. Look, this is what the two business guys do. We mastermind on all these different things. For the first 60 episodes, we were masterminding on all these different tips and tricks in business. This is just a new one. Did you hear how and what's possible though from this, right? Imagine you come out with this unique way to tax the Bitcoins, right? Or bit tax, call it. You create a service. So John, I'm getting excited just, going over some of the things that we're talking about because ideas are dropping in, right? So I'm thinking, what if I started, writing about bit tax, right? I'm a guy, got a couple of degrees, but I'm hitting the edges. I'm trying to figure out some things. And then that little book could explode into something more because I decided, well, you know what, that is something. And maybe next thing you know, you got some government person reading your little raggedy book that you put together as an ebook just to kind of explore and get your thinking right around this. Talk to a couple of smart people, says, how would we? And I don't know. They tax people, let's say. And then you may stumble upon something while you're trying to figure this out. And this is what the two business guys want to mastermind and help you with,
And
right?
and I'm gonna admit, this is still new. I'm learning this stuff, and I could be off base, but I think what we have to do is this stuff's kind of,
Off base with money in the
yeah,
bank.
this is scary. This is new. And if you're not diving into it and trying to make sense of what's going on, you're going to be left in the dark and you're going to be missing an opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, in my infancy of cryptocurrency, in which I'm in, I have to admit that I'm ignorant of most things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have to start somewhere. You can't have the fear of of not being confident in that stop you. You have to start diving into
Yeah.
things. This is what successful people do. This is what people like Warren Buffett do, is they learn about these different things. They try different things. Um, you know, the the truth of the matter is, cryptocurrency is quite volatile. As we learned this week, you know what else is volatile? The stock market is volatile. Um, Everything is volatile, folks. It's just whether or not we want to believe that. If you're working a 40-hour a week job, you think that's secure, but you don't know what type of mood your boss is going to be in on Monday, and and
Uh-huh.
if they're, you have no control over that. So that's volatility.
Yeah. It's really
And,
interesting. I'm sorry. Go
it,
ahead, John.
so if we think about life in that certain, is that there are so many things that are out of our control and we think we're controlling. um it will leave us the opportunity to be more comfortable in exploring new things.
Exactly. Exactly. Exploring new things. Everyone, think about this for a minute. I was reading an article over at delltechnologies.com, and they talked about industries affected by this new approach, right? Industries that it could be affected, and they mentioned social goods and government, banking and law, crypto or cybersecurity, venture capital and fundraising, and then they went into just briefly on the how.
Mm, mm.
How, right? So they talked about social good. People are deciding that what they're going to raise money. They're going to raise money using cryptocurrencies, right? That's how you're starting to see it get into mainstream. Um, and then, so what does that mean for how you used to raise money before? You see where I'm going with this. So now, then they talked about banking and law. Well, somebody's got to figure out how they're going to, um, receive the money in, pay the money out, right? There's wallets, there's all kind of things, and that's what Coinbase in essence serves as a wallet, right? And then you got obviously cybersecurity, right? But look at this. If within these things are changing, you also see opportunity, right? You hole up in a room for 2 weeks and get your mind around this stuff, speaking to people left and right, figuring stuff out. You'll be a lot more ahead than other people will, and maybe you can apply what your style, whatever you're into, to the conversation, right? I was listening to the guy that actually bought Beeple's 69,000 $69 million piece of art. His one a day art. This guy bought it, and he was sitting there. I think we talked a little bit about this, but he was sitting there with what he calls his sniffer, his truffle sniffer, right? All that person did was go out and find things related to this stuff, brought it to him. He's the money guy. And then he even had to convince him, hey, this is going to be big. And he's like, what? Somebody created some art? What are you talking about? Right? Went and bought it. $69 million. Now, people sitting over there going, I'm out of my mind, right? And I saw him on an article with the valuetainment guy. And he says, I'm a guy that was making some decent money, but this is just out of here. I got my money and the opportunity to make more money, because the guy says, look, as I break these apart and sell them, that $69 million could be worth $1 billion. And the guy was like, I can't even imagine that. And he says, I'll give you points on that, percentages, because you shared your stuff with me. So now the ideal of art being static. Now, we mentioned this before, but the ideal of art being static changes. In other words, picture, bought, done, die, you're broke. Why? Because you sold it for one time. Whereas this allows an opportunity to make money in perpetuity. Imagine that, right? You create some art and you can make money on it for a long time. Cents. But as people see it and they pay and whatever, however they decide to break it out, the opportunity. So what are you doing now to business? This is the key. I'm going to use that as a verb, everyone. How to business the rise of cryptocurrency. Create a business around finding more out about it. That's a startup. Whether you're an investor in it, maybe you're the information person. You help people. You've got, and all these things are springing up. But because it's so brand new, it's not red ocean yet.
Think about this. How many stores on the internet, e-commerce stores, are accepting cryptocurrency right now?
There's a couple. There's some that are,
but I mean,
around.
Vastly, most of them, it's either credit or
debit or credit, please.
Yep, debit or credit, or some other form of payment, whether that's a EFT or whatnot. But how many are accepting this? Could this be an opportunity for your business, you as a merchant, to accept an alternative form of currency while it's still new?
Coins is payment.
Yep.
That's it. The verbing, businessing the cryptocurrencies, right? Now, it could be whether it's Bitcoin or whatever, right? If you find that means by what, imagine what that could do to your business. I think Elon Musk invested I don't know, it was a tremendous amount of his company's cash in cryptocurrencies, right? Now, people wanted to run him down the street because if it goes down, you just lost your company's money, right? But if it goes up, for not even doing the business that you started, your company could bring in massive amounts of money. I mean, it's like any risk, right? It's how do you invest your free-flowing cash? And he actually talked to a guy who is big on this, who has started talking about this, what you should be doing with your cash. Literally, you know, Elon gets if Elon called me today, I'd be like, yep, patch him through. You know, I don't know this number, but patch him through. It's Elon. My point is, if you become that expert in that field, if you will, and you bringing in all this knowledge, and then you know you can advise someone on what they should do with this, that, or the other, or the idea I had earlier, bit tax, right? I guarantee if I put on bit tax, it's not unique. Somebody's already figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
But what else could you figure and create a nice little industry for yourself? Start an information publishing business, just dealing with this space. Maybe for the next 5 years, you could become a valued resource, and very rich. Use that money to invest in the very things that you're searching out, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're the sniffer, right, the truffle sniffer, if you will. So as you're listening to us and as we're exploring these, we also want to start telling you, take advantage of these things. What's BitClout? Nobody is even paying it attention. A few people. But it could be something big. We already know the underlying thing of blockchain. Well, what can you tell us about that? Where else could this go? Explore this. There's tons of white papers out there right now. Go read them, collect them, and then write as a result of them. You can become an authority in this space quickly. You could have seen NFTs before they actually popped. Digital art. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Where is the digital art going to live? Well, on the blockchain. Who owns it? Well, the blockchain tells us who really owns it. How will you sell it? Well, a wallet. Now they got all kinds of places now that you can exchange your digital art. I was just on one yesterday, and I didn't write it down here, but oh yes, I did. Crypto.com marketplace to buy and sell your NFTs, and they had all kinds of stuff, man. They had, you know, a race car driver's accident or something. They had a race car driver's, you know, starting off. So who's giving this value? People that are buying it. People that are saying, you know what, I'd like to own that first tweet by Mr. Dorsey because he put it out there, right? Mark Cuban, you know, put some stuff out there. I'd like to see Michael Jordan's first dunk and own it as art, right? And it's changing. So I was reading, John, that it was one of the trading card companies. I can't think of it, but they're now into it. What was it? Topps?
Is it Topps or?
Oh, it was another one. But the point is that they're into it now. Christie's and Sotheby's are like going, hey, wait a minute. We sell art. We don't care what kind. We get commissions. We bring the people together, and we take a commission for that person saying, I want that for $69 million. And they're saying, well, we've got it. We get a commission. Come on. Why does that old establishment control that segment of the market when you could have created your own online digital Sotheby's? You could have done that. Put it on the block. You see what's happening here? So even if you don't understand it, this is what our I think our main thesis here. It is worth exploring, and in a fashion that allows you to verb it, to business it, leverage it, so that it can do something for your company. If nothing else, you won't get left behind. You won't be looking at digital because you don't do digital and go, I don't understand that technology. I'm not messing with it. Blockbuster, right? I don't understand virtual, so I'm not messing with it. So John and I did this thing, and we're going to share this with you because it's so much fun. And I actually was inspired by one of the books I was reading, John, and the book is by Jay Samit, Really, really cool guy. I actually bought his first book, Disrupt You, and it changed my life. And all the information that he was talking about in there, Jay Samit, Jaysimt, author, right? Business guy, but he ended up talking about he calls himself a serial disruptor, always trying to disrupt things. So his new book really spoke to using what is available to us now that's coming out to solve problems, right? And I want to jump over to it real quick. The other one, this one's called Future Proofing You. Future Proofing You. Now, he's saying, listen, this is what happened in 2020. Pandemic, it just messed everybody's money up, right? Now, if you had started with Disrupt You, you were already ready and fertile for knowing that you have to disrupt the way you think, the way you act, the way you move, the way you invest, the way you do business. You come around and says future proofing you, and then you start saying, okay, what does that look like? And he says, listen, we need to take advantage of these things that are happening to solve the problems that, guess what, people are continuing to have. And this is what the exercise that John and I were doing was coming up with, and this is from the book. He says, come up with 90 ideas. So in other words, just do 3 ideas a day. Now, John and I, we got a ton of them up here. So John was able to come up with, like, I don't know, I'm looking at your sheet here, John, and it's like, 20, 25, 30. And I was able to come up, but I was trying to pace myself because in the moment I can come up with some things, but as you go and the next day happens, a new thing happens, a new problem happens. And then you can kind of go, let me get those 3 down, right? Come up with about 90 of them and then start saying, okay, how can what we have available to us, and he was talking about the augmented reality, right? He calls it spatial reality type thing. Spatial reality deals with augmented reality, it deals with virtual reality. In other words, how can we use that technology? Now, this is the technology that's here and coming to solve ordinary problems. And John and I, we just have our list, right? So if we may share a couple of them, John, it was like overworked and fatigued, right? Now, if we were looking at how would we solve that, being overworked and fatigued in a augmented reality, virtual reality world. Now, that's just if we use that approach. How would we solve it? So that's what, is what we're thinking about. Right. And then we'll be reporting out. We'll be talking more about this as we take the problems that we have come up with over this time. It didn't even take us 90 days. We got 90 of them. Right. And one of the ones I had, John, was too many ideas, not enough time to act on it.
Mm-hmm.
How could we solve that? Who could help us solve that? Blah, blah, blah. So these are the intelligent questions that we're answering or asking, and then asking, what can we go off and get that helps us solve all of these, maybe in a different way than we normally would? I would love to put all of my ideas in. I got tubs of them, and they're almost calling me out and saying, "What about me? I told you about Bitcoin 4 years ago. What did you do?" Nothing. You know what I mean? So now, how could we use the spatial reality approaches? Or now that's just one area. Or can we utilize what's in our face right now, the blockchain technologies, NFT approaches, all these different things? How could we do that? Right? Solving that problem. I got an idea. Okay, go send it to somebody that can create an NFT for you. Put it on to you're done. And that thing, next thing you know, what do you mean somebody wants to buy that for millions of dollars? This was some mess that I wrote up. Blah, blah, blah. Who knows? Right? Now, another one I had, John, was I'd like to make more money in my business. Now, I'm just going to say it. You open up your information and you got some thousands, and we ain't gonna tell your business, that you didn't know you had.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh shoot, that's a buy me more than dinner. Like I said, you could go buy a small little car for
Mm-hmm.
somebody. I'd like to make more money in my business has just been answered by, well, let me put a couple bucks over here and let it grow. Okay,
And
next.
let me just say this. For too long, making money has had a negative connotation. But the
Making
people,
money.
yes, making money, the idea where, oh, we must be money crazed if
Yeah.
that is our concern as business. But hey, you know what? Making money is about opportunity. And if I want to change the world, if I want to affect the world, if I want to make the world a better place, if I want to bless generations to come or have opportunities for my children, my children's children, my community, my church, or whatever it is that you want to do, money is the way that we can do that. Everything can be used for evil, but it could be used for great good as well. And
Oh my
it
gosh,
just
you said it.
depends, and it just depends on what is our perspective and what we want to do. We can make more change, better change, more impact with money than without money.
Right. It's amazing that you say that. An idea that's way down the pile of ideas is that I had was called "Get Rich to Give Richly."
Hmm.
Somebody say "Get Rich" and they go, "Oh my God, he's that person, right? He's gonna, trample on the backs of others to get rich." No, that's not it. I want to give richly, right? I treat money as a time leverager. That's it. Why do you want money? Because I want time. I would like to buy time. And this is how I use it. And I can remember any investment that I made, John, was all with that idea. When I started investing in real estate when I was 18, 19 years old, it was like I want to create my own little mutual funds because I didn't want to rely on the job. I used and leveraged the job to go and buy the real estate.
Just think about this. Um, Whether it's our children, our parents, or the schools in our areas, what if we could imagine being able to do things, good things, that we weren't able to do before? For example, my parents are getting up older in age,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that healthcare costs are rising, um, that there are, and this is the thing, when you work your entire life and when you retire, most people have less of an income. They work their entire life, 40, 50, 60 years,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they have less resources than they've ever had before.
Crazy.
And what 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 could you do with the resources that you're investing? uh, it, so think of it that way. Don't I think too often we focus on the negative stuff, and if we would just look at I remember as a kid here, Randy, I've known that I wanted to be in business forever. I remember as a kid, I grew up in a very poor area,
Mhm.
and I remember thinking, man, I would love someday to be able to um, buy Mrs. Harris a house, or fix her house up, or pay the mortgage so she didn't have to worry about that, or whoever, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
I do.
pay the medical bills for so and so. Have have somebody's house being painted. Hey, you know what? Hire somebody to snowplow their driveway the entire winter so they don't
Right.
have to worry about it. I
Yeah.
mean, I remember thinking these things, and I think that it's about mindset. We could say that, yeah, I want to get my sixth or seventh car. And some people, but I can't define something based on that. I define it on what are my motives and what do I want to do and what type of impact do I want to create. And I remember as a kid having those dreams of being able to do that.
That is
Um,
amazing. I love that, man. And it's altruistic, right? And look, guys, we don't want to take you down the road. I want you crying over there. We just want you to look at the why of you doing this thing, why you would want to look into NFTs and this new cryptocurrencies and all these different things, and how you can leverage it to and business it so that it can do the things that are in your heart. Right? I found out, John, that I didn't realize this because I didn't think this was the case. So as you were on your grind, right? That I'm a lot more philanthropic than I thought I was.
mhm.
As more money started coming in, I started doing more things, whether it was in, sending it over to some churches or sending it over to some people, directly. I can remember specifically when, a chunk of change came my way. I paid to have a buddy of mine's car totally fixed. And it was quite a bit. You know what I mean? Something that you look at the bank account and the bank account looks back, are you sure you want to do this? Right? Totally fixed. And that was
Just think
my
about that.
gift.
Yeah, and just think about that. And you don't have you don't announce that to the world or
Right.
anything
I
else.
hadn't told anybody until
Yep, yep.
today.
But well, we still don't know who the buddy is,
Right.
and that's great. That's the way that it should be. And if we live our life in that sort of manner, we shouldn't have. And we're doing business honestly and above board. We're not cheating people. We're not selling false expectations or low quality. Then there's nothing wrong with making money.
Right.
Just
Get rid of those
do.
blocks, everybody.
Yep. I think that limits a lot of people because I grew up in that limited mentality mindset that all rich people, all people that had money must have been taking advantage of somebody.
Right. You'd be surprised at how much that informs us. I'm working with a lady now, and I talked to her about this. If she hears this, she'll know who it is. I'm not going to say your name or anything like that. And she said to me, "Hey, look, I think I got a money block."
Hmm.
And I was like, what are you talking about? She says, because I got this great thing and I'm not revenuing it. And I don't know why. And I looked at it and I came up with like maybe 16 to 17 different things that she could do to monetize it. Because this is what I do for a living, helping people
Hmm.
monetize things. And I came up with 16 things. And of the 16, she picked one. It was amazing, right? Picked one. I'm like, well, okay, that one will do it. But it was one of the smaller ones, the little engines. And then so I says, okay, well, let's just jump into that and let's, create the thing that'll allow you to, send out links to people that listen to, that do this thing. And a week later, hey, how's that going? Oh, I don't know. I didn't finish it. And I don't know why. And then I just simply send a message back, money block? Question mark. Is this, that's what she was talking about. Right. And John, you mentioned it. Where is the money block?
Hmm.
When we have something new come out, right? Now, we don't want to be the fool, chasing after tulips, but I guarantee you somebody made investing in tulips, somebody made some money.
Hmm.
Somebody got in, saw it. Somebody also saw that this was no good and left. In the meantime, they sold the shares to somebody else. Right now, we look at something like this new stuff, whatever that new stuff is. If you're in business, this is what we would recommend, or I would recommend, is that you have someone that explores it.
Hmm.
Now, you can give them hey, I'll give you a couple of dollars to do what you can with it. Be prepared to lose that money. But if it wins, you've created a whole nother division for your company. If I guarantee if Blockbuster says, you know what, we want to get really into this digital space, here, explore this area, new person, new segment. Now, you guys, we're not going to mess with you because John, what ends up happening, right? Companies are messing with them, right? It's like what Google does. Um, they have their moonshots, right? This is stuff that moonshots. Just imagine what that means. But From those moonshots have
That's the
come
full
some
court.
very
That's
interesting things.
the full court shot, the moonshot.
Yeah, the moonshots, it's not gonna make it.
But
But they gave money to it, let somebody run it. And John, I've read some things. I'm not gonna go over it here, but read some things that came out of those moonshots, and they're amazing.
think about this. Okay, think about it, and let's just put it in perspective. You play basketball. Where and my brother was a big basketball player, and when I was a sophomore in high school,
Mhm.
our we had a great basketball team, and they ended up going to state tournament.
Mhm.
And they the what happened was there was literally like 3 seconds on the clock,
Mhm.
and
You guys were losing.
yep, our we were by 2 points, and they inbounded it. We inbounded it, and over a three-quarters court shot, made it. The individual, one of the team members did, and ended up winning the game. And it's like, they could have thought, well, there's not enough time on the clock. I can't get it, past half court in that amount of time. So
Enough,
why am
yeah.
I even why am I even going to throw the ball up, right? Why am I even going to try? But this is the thing: if you don't try, you don't know whether or not you're going to make the shot or not.
Good point, John. That's a good point to stop. And we've talked about this stuff. We're talking about how you can, business the ideas behind cryptocurrency. In other words, we're using business as a verb here, everyone. We're saying how you can start dipping a toe in, figuring some stuff out. John got a very good. I'm sure he's going to go to the wife and says, "Honey, we got enough to buy a small car, right? A
Or
little
maybe
car,
not say
not a big
anything.
one."
Maybe not say anything right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think I'd be celebrating this because it comes on the heels of John. It comes on the heels of us asking some questions, right? And why I wanted us to do this exercise was for us open up our minds. Hey, look, these are some of the problems that we're having. Money management. Patience, right? And then lack of time. These are things. One of the other ones, creating super fans, right? How do we create a thing and create a whole bunch of fans around it? Blah blah blah, right? Um, what's the other one? Minimal net margins, right? In other words, I got to make sure that all these plates up there spinning aren't just spinning for no reason. I'm not trying to become a professional plate spinner. I'm spinning them because they keep coming to me, and I just throw another one up, right? Now, so we start thinking about all of these problems that we've heard from other people, business people, and ourselves. I love to solve my own problem first and then go out and see if there's more people that have that same problem, right? And telling you, everyone, we want you starting to think about how you can utilize and leverage this new stuff that you may not understand. You don't have to understand it. I guarantee you pop it into YouTube, you'll have 50 people that if you listen to the videos, you're going to get some gibberish, but you will get a better understanding of just about anything. Right, John? I'm building something, man, that I'll tell you about a little bit later. I don't want to say it on air right now. That is designed to. Well, I'm not building it. I'm going to have somebody build it because I'm not in that space, right? That will allow us to bring in more information in a very centralized way, bring in more information so that we can get more of ourselves and our ideas out into the marketplace. Do it in a way that is as safe as very possible, utilizing some of these technologies and apps that allow us that take money off the table, and money off the table, I mean cost off the table. Right. Anyway, so we'll talk to you guys about that as we go forward. You guys know that we launched the Entre Hustler newsletter. John and I, another plate spinning. Right now, we want you starting to think about how you can get in touch with the Entre Hustler newsletter because we're going to be rolling out some of this stuff. Right, We will be showing you companies that are doing some interesting things. Put that in the newsletter, right? Give you an opportunity to click on it, go over to it, check out, and become more experienced in this. Blockchain technology. We're going to be able to take some of the things we're talking about here, put them into the newsletter, and give you a chance to dig deeper. Become a part of Entre Hustler News. I'm telling you guys right now, it's one of those things that I personally believe is going to go and explode in a very good way, right? So you want to be on the ground floor of that and see and start getting your Entre Hustler on, just like John and I are doing. Plate spinning, spin some plates, everybody. John, is there anything that you want to share before we get out of here?
Just give yourself the opportunity to try something. Don't shut it down right away. Don't get a mental block. Um, really evaluate opportunities, and don't be scared to start researching things you don't understand. You know, 20 years from now, we there might not be any physical currency, and you're going to be lost, or you're going to be way behind, or you could have benefited from being an early adopter of some of these things. But if you don't give yourself the opportunity, you're never going to know.
That's so cool. I just joined a group called Cash is Trash. And I'm looking forward to, having conversation with everyone on that. Cash is trash, everybody. And because cash is trash, we got to start thinking about what's not trash. That's all I got to say. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming and listening in on us today. Our YouTube channel is growing like crazy. We've been doing some very pointed things to have people come onto it, go onto the YouTube channel, subscribe. We're going to also have, of course, the audio version over on Anchor. You can subscribe there, download stuff. But we really want you, outside of those vanity metrics, is we want you using these pieces of information, breaking them apart, becoming a part of the community, and then now going out and leveraging it up. That's all we want to say. All right, John, thank you very much, man, for coming on. I know it was tough this Saturday, but everyone, will see you on the next Saturday. Talk to you then.